There have been a lot of times in my life that I thought I had it down. And I've made some mistakes, but
Where are we going, Merlene?
This way. It's not far now.
How you holding up?
I'm running on fumes. I'll make it.
why she didn't heal herself, I have no idea.
The place is right up ahead.
Attention. Curfew is now in full effect. Anyone caught outside without proper authorization will be arrested and prosecuted.
The hell are we smuggling?
I'll show you.
Attention. Curfew is now in full effect. Anyone caught outside.
So I'm gonna come up with a topic or something, and it's gonna be good. Hopefully, at some point or another.
Joel, give me a hand with this.
Come on now. Get on up.
Fuck away from her! Hey!
Let her go.
You're recruiting kind of young, aren't you?
She's not one of mine.
Shit. What happened?
Don't worry. I got his help. But I can't come with you.
Well, then I'm staying.
Ellie, we won't get another shot at this.
Hey, we're smuggling her?
There's a crew of Fireflies that'll meet you at the Capitol building.
That's not exactly close.
You're capable. You hand her off, come back, the weapons are yours. Double what Robert sold me.
Speaking of which, where are they?
Back in our camp.
We're not smuggling shit until I see them.
You'll follow me. You can verify the weapons. I can get patched up. But she's not crossing to that part of town. I want Joel to watch over her.
Whoa, I don't think that's
Bullshit,
the
I'm not
best
Ellie.
idea.
him. How do you know them?
I was close with his brother Tommy. Said if I was ever in a jam, I could rely on him.
Was that before or after he left your little militia group?
He left you too. He was a good man.
I could just take her to the North Tunnel and wait for me there.
Jesus Christ.
Just cargo, Joel.
No more talking.
Human trafficking.
Fine. Now go with him.
Don't take long.
Hold on 1 second.
You stay close.
I wanted
Let's
it to
go.
make that thing, but it didn't. And I was like, dang it, that sucks. Oh. So most of the time when I make mistakes, the consequences are not that dire.
Heard all the shooting, but
One time I accidentally allowed somebody who was under 21 to come inside and
Same thing's gonna happen.
drink
to us if we get on
their
this.
whatever. So
bro, I'm just following you.
then I tried to move to Mississippi, where that is actually legal if they have their parents with them. And then I tried to move back because I realized that no, it's not a good idea, and kids should not drink before they're old enough to drink. I don't know how, I don't know why, but I just figured that it would be a better thing and it would make my dad proud. Understanding that I shouldn't always try to make my parents proud because then they get really snooty and they don't want to give me money.
Harboring or aiding wanted criminals is punishable by death.
So I'm selling,
Place yourself at risk. Report
this
any
is
suspicious activity
the Hulk's
immediately.
lighter, and this is the She-Wolf's, what was it called? It's her Kegel thing. So she does this,
Or aiding wanted
and then she
criminals is punishable
freaking,
by death. Do
then
not
she,
place yourself
no.
at risk. Report any suspicious activity immediately.
And then she drinks her energy drink. That's what she does because her name is She-Wolf. She-Wolf, not She-Hulk. Don't get them confused because She-Wolf likes white hair.
Harboring or aiding
She-Hulk
criminals
does not.
punishable by death. Don't place yourself at risk. Report any suspicious activity immediately.
Alright, we're gonna jump this fence. We're gonna go up these stairs where we were just at and see if there's any clues. See if there's any items. Wow, we were supposed to meet with these guys, huh? So many Firefly guys. So most of the time I see through people's bullshit. Most of the time I see through all the stuff they're trying to tell me. And what I try to do, because I was taught this a long time ago, is I try to make jokes.
Report any suspicious activity immediately.
Don't put yourself at risk.
Down here.
Oh. Oh, man, can't get away with anything. So, oh,
Keep it up.
Any suspicious activity immediately.
I was trying to hold in a sneeze, and the sneeze police got me. Shit. So, yep, that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to hold in that sneeze, so it could be. How's it going, viewer? If you would like to message me, you can. I'm talking about random stupid things right now. It is really fun. You should try it. Everyone should try it, to just talk about random dumb stuff. It's really great.
Where are we going?
Up there. That'll get us to the north.
A bunch of different things that they're either angry or pissed off about because that's right. Because it's not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal. It's never as big of a deal as you think it is. Not because it's not traumatizing or anything, but because it is traumatizing most times to not talk about it, and it makes you build up rage and anger. And then you try to use that for power, and you don't realize that it will leave you in 20 seconds. Try to mess with it, try to do a bunch of different stuff with it, and then you realize that you were just dreaming, and you woke up, and you were hallucinating. So remember that.
No, that's a first. What's the deal with
Most
you
times
and
people don't understand that they're hallucinating. And how's it going,
I guess.
viewer? Would you like to message me? I mean, I'm a good person. I think I'm amazing. And that's what counts.
She knew my mom, and she's been looking after me. And I'm 14. Not that that has anything to do with.
And
Where are your parents?
Or anyone's parents. They've been gone a long time.
trying to check out this story.
Instead of just staying in school, you decided to run up and join the Firefly, is that it?
Look, I'm not supposed to tell you why you're smuggling me, if that's what you're getting at.
You know the best thing about my job? I don't gotta know why. To be honest with you, I give two shits what you're up to.
That's right. Human trafficking. This game is human trafficking. I don't know. Just I don't know. A lot of different people think that I don't have a sense of humor or anything like that.
Is it?
I don't want to share it, and I do want to share it, but I want to share it on a platform where it's not misconstrued or thought as something else or something else at all. You know. I was trying to say it a little bit more concisely
What are
because
you doing?
Killing time.
I was trying to be cool and stuff
Well, what
when
am
I was
supposed
younger,
to do?
and
I am sure you will figure that out.
Your watch is broken.
This is about a lot of different traumatizations that people don't realize are like, it's real. It affects a lot of people, and I've never played this game before, and I still knew that. So I knew that a lot of different kind of people.
You know,
A lot of different people who go through traumatization. This is kind of like the whole. I knew the premise, but I didn't know that this actual scene would actually happen. But you know what?
can't be any worse.
I may be. I might be, but hey, you know, but who? All right.
Hey, sorry it took so long. Soldiers fucking everywhere.
How's Marlene?
She'll make it.
Most of the time,
Merchandise. It's all right.
I try to be a little bit more forward-thinking and positive about stuff, but a lot of times I think negatively, and I try to get past it with like jokes and different things like that. I try to work past it and like, I mean, if you had the chance, like most of my jokes are about if you had the chance to like to rule the world for 20 seconds, what would you do? Most of the time, I like to think that I'm like this way. I have a D&D character that I was kind of like developing after a while, and it died. So I decided to what's the word? To swear that I would try to kill as many characters as Dungeon Master, and when I became Dungeon Master for the first time, I tried to murder one of my friends in the game because I was doing this chessboard thing, and I was moving this piece further and further along, and he was going in a straight line, basically going to the next thing and constantly going to the next thing, and I was trying to tell him to go to different places and stuff like that because it was a chessboard, so it was like not always one way to go. So a lot of times people don't know that alright. We got zombies coming.
Who's waiting for us at the drop-off?
She said there's some fireflies that have traveled all the way from another city. Girl must be important. What is the deal with you? Are you some bigwig's daughter or something?
Something like that. How long is this all gonna take?
If everything goes as planned, we should get you through the interview. Once we get out there.
But most of the time, I think people don't realize that there's a lot of negative reinforcement out there, and it's hard to get past it, or to get through it, or to get around it, or to just not even deal with it sometimes. And a lot of times, to be able to get through it, I just tell myself that bad things happen to people who constantly try to think of themselves as always the one in front, or always the one that's going into the dangerous situations and stuff like that. And I realized that the more that people made dangerous situations for themselves, the more I kind of just lost interest, and the more I just kind of like, I mean, it's not like I tried to quit, but I told people. I was just like,
I'm actually outside.
I was just really having a bad time. I'm having a terrible time, and most of the time people didn't really understand that. But I noticed that a lot of times, even though I was having a terrible time, I still found stuff to be able to learn from, to be able to get myself out of it. And that doesn't mean it was a positive situation or plus or anything, because there was a lot of negatives around, and most of the time, I think that that if you're focused on all the negative, awesome, that's fun. I knew that was going to happen.
Move.
Turn around, on your knees. You scan him, I'll call it in.
Put your hands on your head.
This is Ramirez at Sector 12, requesting pickup for 3 stragglers. Understood.
Look the other way. I can make this worth your while.
Shut up. Tired of shit. What's the ETA?
Couple minutes.
Oh, fuck. I thought we were just gonna hold him up or something.
Oh, shit. Look.
Jesus Christ. Marlene set us up? Why the hell are we smuggling an infected girl?
I'm not infected.
No? Just lying?
I can explain.
You better explain fast.
So you can explain.
Look at this.
I don't care how you got infected.
It's 3 weeks old.
No, everyone turns within 2 days, so you stop bullshitting.
It's 3 weeks. I swear. Why would she set you up?
I ain't buying it.
So the more I thought about
Run. Run! Go!
the ways that I wanted to leave, or the ways that I wanted to go, there were a lot of times where
Follow me.
I realized if I went somewhere else, then I'd still have my same problems.
Signal.
I'd still have to take medication, and I'd still have to do a bunch of different stuff to be able to get myself back in order. And no matter what, I guess, people think about what they should or shouldn't be, or something like that, or how they think about themselves in a social setting.
Ready?
I guess what they really need to understand, and people really need to keep thinking about, is a lot of times there's not a lot of room for error when it comes to certain things like this. And
I don't see anything down there. We really came this way?
and
Stay down, don't let him see you.
most of the time I think that
Follow Joel.
people don't realize that
You see anything?
Go back here. Have a look overhead.
they're actually doing something that that deserves attention, you know? Like a lot of different businesses and stuff like that that have been doing good things and helping people get back up on their feet and stuff like that. It's really been helpful, and I don't want that to stop. But I want the bullshit to stop, because I know that they're helping people most of the time. And I know that they're not hurting people, and they should really like kind of promote that more often, no matter what kind of business it is. And I've had many jobs, so many jobs, and for like maybe short stints and periods of time where I was kind of going through something, but most of the time I tried to do the best job that I could, no matter how I felt about the job, or no matter how I felt about the people that worked there. But I really think that if they don't realize they're helping people out sometimes, then a lot of times that stops whenever something stays or something goes, or someone stays or someone goes, like benefits and things like that. And most of the time I think that
How are we supposed to get past them?
or even emotional support, you know, like just telling a person that you're there for them and actually being there for them.
Too many tests.
So that's mostly what I think about whenever I see the past, and whenever I see about what it is that I was trying to do, or what it is I was trying to get through. Is basically I was trying to understand what fame and all that stuff was, what exactly was the reason why people actually like things in New Orleans and other cities and other places. And a lot of times I was only trying to to get to certain things because I was daring to care most of the time, and a lot of people and a lot of things, and a lot of times people didn't realize that I was making a beeline for the goal when I wasn't thinking about what goal I wanted for myself. You know, I was just trying to make it to the options and the possibilities and all that other different stuff, and I was being kind of controlled by my own childish emotions sometimes, or my own childish likes and fears and different things that I would get in my head about stuff. But most of the time, it was really mostly about security. I really did feel that those situations could have actually arisen and made people think and fear and hate a lot of different companies in New Orleans, especially if something went wrong or someone had a bad experience. And I tried to make it to where I could invest my time in other things and try to change people's ideas about the place that they live, and hopefully stop those things in the future, I guess. So in essence, I was trying to be something that I'm mostly not. I'm an artist, and I'm a video game player, so it's just a lot of times people didn't really understand what I was trying to get through to them, and it was more like I was trying to let them focus on a joke and then realize something happens, and it doesn't happen because of me or around anything. It's more like the timing of an event that allows something to happen that usually is like say for instance you're watching TV, okay, and you see a dude talk about something or someone, and then a person shares that basically and says that's word of mouth, and but it's not exactly just word of mouth. It's more like it takes a little bit of chance in order for that stuff to happen, in order for that timing to get there, or that it's basically a little bit of a step through to another emotional and
we deliver you to the Fireflies.
And
Marlene, she said that they have their own little quarantine zone with doctors
metaphorical.
that are still trying to find a cure.
Yeah, we've heard that before, huh, Tess?
Peace, you know.
And that
the more I think about a lot of different things that I've done, and the more I think about people that I've met along the way, I think that
oh, I'm sure she did.
Hey, fuck you, man. I didn't ask for this.
Me neither. Tess, what the hell are we doing here?
What if it's true?
I can't...
What if, Joel? I mean, we've come this far. Let's just finish it.
Do I need to remind you what is out there?
I get it.
This way. If we cut through downtown, we can hit the Capitol building by sunrise.
We hope.
The more times I think about how many possibilities and how many ways things can go, like peace deals and treaties and political standoffs and a bunch of different things that people actually don't know about. A lot of people don't think that there's any hope for certain places sometimes, and or hope for jobs, or hope for people to actually make businesses and actually make money, or actually do something that makes sense, and I just want them to like kind of think about the random absurdities, you know, to be able to get them through the
Sounded pretty far away, though.
Are we safe?
For now. Come on.
the mundane sort of dry bullshit that everyone tries to throw at each other. Basically, we're just all evolved monkeys throwing a bunch of shit at each other sometimes. And the more we start to realize that the shit is making everyone sick, Then we're like, okay, only on Tuesdays. You can only throw shit on each other on Tuesdays. But I have work on Tuesdays. I can't do that. All right, Saturday and Sunday. Saturday and Sunday, everyone gets to throw shit at each other. No Saturday and Sunday. Some people have retirements and they're too old to go out throwing shit on each other. All right, how about Wednesdays and then Fridays? Wednesdays is a pretty good thing because a lot of people get off early because of midday crunch, and you know, people in Italy. There's a whole bunch of different people in Sweden. They actually get off early. All right, we're gonna talk about this later, and we're gonna come up with a solution. I'm sure everyone has their ideas and their opinions, and they can keep them themselves at this moment. Because right now, we're going through Prank War. Prank War 2019. It is sponsored by... not sponsored. It's not sponsored by Ampersand and the Republic. Oh, it's so beautiful. Good times. There have been a lot of days and weeks and months and years that I've tried to... What is this, man? What is this? What is this? What am I doing? Am I trying to jump down here? Because that's what I'm gonna do. But everybody's looking all this way and shit, and I'm just... You guys are dumb. I'm going this direction. Most of the time, though, there are a lot of times where I see through some sort of thing, and I realize that there are a lot of different people out there that just really do care and give tons and tons of their selves and their lives to put themselves into the position they need to be in to be able to make the best life for themselves. And the more times I think about it, the more times I want to see it in the works, and to see it in people and how they deal with it, and how it's just something that kind of irks and like a lot of people don't realize this, but
You find anything over there?
No.
Keep looking.
there have been a lot of technological advancements in the past
You just stay close to her.
couple of decades, and there have been a lot of times where oh, see, that's not even, that's a blocked wall. But I see that a lot of people, they look past all those problems and look past all those solutions, and they try to see the best outcome for everyone, and hopefully everyone kind of like sticks to that and realizes that that's the way that things should be. And if they do go up like a path and they stray from a certain thing, they have to realize that sometimes they have to go back to it, or sometimes they just don't need it at all, you know? It's usually the person's heart and what they want and how they want, and a lot of people use themselves completely in a job, and sometimes they forget about everything. But the more they forget about themselves, the more they lose that fire, that stuff that they had. And that's the part about being young that people forget about a lot, and they don't understand that making those decisions is what makes you older, or is what makes you feel older, and sometimes can make you into a person you don't feel like being. And sometimes you need to restart your emotions and restart yourself and restart your thought process and realize that there are so many times that people literally almost like just took you away, you know? Like there are so many times where when you were a kid that there are dudes out there that are just like fucking crazy and they want to like take you away from all this madness because they're mad and crazy. And there are so many times when children don't realize that there are just seriously people who are fucked up in the head. And and they don't realize how many times that risk actually got involved, and most of the time I was just like, wow, I'm really going in the wrong direction. So I may have threatened to, not really threatened, but I told him because he was supposed to get murdered in the game. So he took that in a real life situation because I told him that, but the rest of that sentence, which wasn't fun, the rest of that sentence, he wouldn't think it was fun. I guess he wouldn't think it was fun. But the rest of that sentence was, and now you'll be resurrected. So basically, I was doing the whole Jesus thing. What? I was just like kind of like metaphorically murdering people and just like bringing them back to life and stuff. It's like, you're alive! And then that's funny, I guess. It's mostly my dad's joke, so it's not really mine. It's like when your friend like sees you for the first time, like that thought that they suggest, and my dad would just think this all the time, I think, and he would think that, wow, you're alive, like wow, amazing, like thanks. I think so. I think that I did a good job too. I think that I did an amazing job, and I think that I should get I should get a sponsorship from Thor Ragnarok. I don't think they're handing out sponsorships anymore, but the more I think about it, though, the more I come back to reality, and there goes gravity. There goes Rabid. He knows it's all what? Habit? He knows it's all scrabbed. Glamid. You know, he knows it's all fabricated, something like that. Fabricated, something like that. I don't know. It's all fake, or it's all something like that. All the whole we are all connected. We are the world. We are the children. That's the worst song. People don't understand how unbelievably irresponsible the world actually is.
Clicker.
Yeah, that's a vegetable.
Infectional duty.
All right, let's look at him.
Sort of. They see you as sound.
Like bats?
Yeah.
Like bats. If you hear one clicking, you gotta hide. That's how they spot you.
This is where he should have wore his gas mask, but they're stupid and they take those things off for no goddamn reason. They're the most irresponsible reflexes in this entire game. Like, very irresponsible. Like, people are just like, I'm gonna take my mask off because this is where my end is. And it's like, what the fuck does that even mean? Are you a video game character or something? You're not supposed to be thinking like that bullshit, because this is where I stop. This is where I get off, guys. On the train. The train, guys. If you see the train, just let me know, and I'll be there. I'll be there. Just call my name, and I'll be there. So amazing, guys. I'm glad everyone had a problem with me and my papa. People just don't know where I come from sometimes. They don't get my jokes. They don't understand my culture. My culture is, I realize a lot of stuff in America that is biased towards a lot of things. Yeah. That's right.
You alright?
So there's a lot of times that I throw this bottle over here.
Oh, that was intense.
You said it.
The more times I look past a lot of things, though, the more I get to know the root of the problem and the thing that actually caused it. And the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm thinking that it had a lot to do with a lot of different factors, and that's probably what caused this infection in this video game. So there's a lot of different things that distract people over time, and there's a lot of people who think that they're completely immune to the bullshit, and then they get caught in something, not realizing that it's the thing that's causing their bullshit to do a lot of different stupid things. And a lot of people don't realize that a lot, and they don't clean out a bunch of different stuff, and a lot of times that's the reason why a lot of things that gain dust and a bunch of different other mechanisms that never get cleaned or stay in a plane for a really long time is probably the reasons why a lot of things malfunction and then act like things on fire, because of the statistics of fire, basically. The temperature fluctuations and higher and lower pressures with all the extreme weather that's actually happening around us is probably a huge fluctuation in temperature scale, and there's probably 90-degree patterns and freaking a whole bunch of different stuff that's actually causing all that stuff to happen. So, but also too, there's probably AI as well, because there are stupid people out there that make dumb decisions because they think that something's going to help people later on, and they don't put a code on it or they don't put a program on it to be able to control it or tell it what to do, because it's literally like a baby. It's like a baby, and it'll do stupid shit and try to put things in its mouth. It's a baby. Okay, babies are dumb. Babies are dumb because babies are smart. What? Babies are so stupid because they're smart. Okay, they know everything about the world when they come out. They know everything about every life almost, because they've learned everything through feeding. Yeah, they've learned everything through becoming themselves. So basically, it's like they are the world. They are the world, they are the children, things like that. But technically, only babies are like that. And children aren't that anymore because they stopped hanging on to from their mom's teat. And they stopped eating from the world or from anything, and they feel empty. They feel empty. That's why they get emotionally distraught and all of those things, because they don't know that sometimes they need to eat more food or drink more liquids or do something that involves doing something for them to be able to do something better with themselves. And that's why a lot of kids don't realize, they're like, oh, I'm trying to eat my food, but everyone keeps talking about this one episode from blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it's because you binge watched a goddamn entire episode of that stuff, and that's the reason why you can't freaking realize stuff, and that's the reason also why you have to realize that it's just stuff you shouldn't have got into. Like, you know, just stuff you should have just... It's like, realize that, like, SpongeBob SquarePants isn't the best cartoon to actually do things. Because when you watch a thriller movie, you're running your own thought process on what relates to SpongeBob SquarePants. So basically, your dreams, or whatever your dreams will be so misconstrued, and a whole bunch of different things. You'll start to see different killers' voices, and freaking SpongeBob SquarePants voices, and somehow, like, suspenders will probably be scary to you, and and all those other different things. They'll be scary because, like, they insinuate what killers do on movies because you watch too many horror movies and you don't realize a bunch of different things. So realize that. Realize if you watch too many horror movies, you're probably going to assume that your neighbor in Mississippi who talks with a really southern drawl, you're going to think that he's a killer and he has someone tied up in his basement. That's the stupid shit that people think about all the time, and that's called stereotypes, because that's the reason why they have those movies, to be able to blanket the stereotype and tell you that it's not actually that, because then they have some dude who's like Toby Keith and he fucking comes in and he tries to save the day, because that's the reason why, is people take care of their own problems. That's what happens. All right, people take care of their own problems most of the time. He saves the day, and he saves the day completely, and it's amazing, and it's awesome, and people should respect people more that save the day, and also pay them, because I'm sure that somebody somewhere thought that there would be some sort of job that would happen to, because I do actually believe in, I don't believe in time travel or anything like that, but I do believe that possibilities connect, and that there are people who can see those possibilities. Or at least map out the possibility of actually meeting someone for the first time. Not like see into the future or anything, or like understand the possibility of anything, but realize that the reason why some people are happy, or the reasons why they're doing something, or the reason why they're smiling, and you think they're smiling at you, is because you've watched too many movies where the girl's smiling. You've watched too many movies where the girl loves you, and you're just like, oh my god, she's so amazing, guys. She's the best chick ever. And it's like, rom-coms are so freaking annoying to me sometimes, but all it does is they're both reinforcing everything they're possibly saying. So it sounds like they absolutely hate each other at first. And actually, in some cases, they have to, because most of the time, they had sex with so many different people that they can't get the thought out their head of another person. Doing something over and over and over again creates a reflex, okay? That's the reason why dudes in football are going to be kind of disabled afterwards. They've been running themselves dry, and they're not immortal, and they're not freaking running into the buildings and shit and breaking them and stuff and saving people from fires. They're not doing that shit. They're not doing any of that stuff. So it's like, I mean, like, I don't know, realize that there's so much more to actually getting into like a job or a place or anything. The more you look at certain places that are booming and certain things that are realizing certain things, you can rip that from something, or not rip it, but copy it. You know, you don't rip it. Don't just rip it. Don't just try to take or anything like that. Copy it. Copy it and make it flourish, and realize that you can make it your own. Yeah. You can make it your own thing. And there we go.
Let's get the hell out of here. Oh boy.
The more I think about what makes a problem and what makes a solution, is usually,
Just see if there's a way through.
for certain people, the problem is always more difficult, because the person is putting more thought into it, because they believe they have to.
It's clear. Come on, Ellie.
All right, kid, you're up.
Come on. Come on, big guy. Let's go.
Clickers?
Shit, go.
It's called Alien Invaders. Alien Invaders of the Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
over here.
The more I think about it, the more times people try to think that they're better than what they think they are. The more that they talk about their problems and realize their problems, that's only half the battle. You have to push yourself through a really amazingly difficult path. And it's a path to friggin' realization, it's a path to amazingness, it's a path to awesome prizes and cash and credit and amazing freaking life.
Shitting my pants? I'm fine.
Let's go.
Playing games is so much fun. Playing everything is so much fun. And realizing that a lot of different times, sometimes you skip things or sometimes you let things go, but I mean, you can always appreciate the story. And what I do when I appreciate the story going around, I try to like diffuse that argument or say something that doesn't make any goddamn sense to make people not fucking focus on how they feel, on the way they feel, and think about me or think about something else that I said, because it's fucking hilarious and it's all false and stupid. It's hilarious, it's funny as hell. It's funny to say that old people die. Because then they won't have to deal with all the bullshit that people give them all the time. Patronizing ass shit. Eventually they won't have to deal with that shit because friggin'... And it's good to let go of that, you know? To let go of the hurt and the pain sometimes. It's good to tell people that it's going to be okay and that you can move on and keep moving on and keep realizing that people are there no matter what sometimes, and they help, and they always try to be there, you know? But the more you try to look past the situation... Yeah, I see it. Okay, alright, cool. The more you try to look past the situation, and the more you try to select your way through whatever you're doing,
Runners.
I'll go check it out. Stay with the girl.
because there are serious questions sometimes that people just miss, and they don't understand that it's not a part of any road or any path or anyone that someone set up. It's a question that they literally ask themselves through the life of our universe. Oh, really? Okay, it's coming. Okay, run. Ah! I'm dead. Dang it. Okay, that's me. So I'm done with all that stuff. I'm just trying to tell people that I know what it feels like. I know how it feels to be like thrown out and acted like there's some sort of practical joke that's gonna like save your ass, and it's just like really difficult to put past the whole metaphor of your trying to be the someone that you really want to be, or trying to make sure that you can be the thing that you want to be, or trying to hold on to something because you feel it's the one thing that keeps you going, and you realize that it's not, and it won't keep you going. It's you that keeps you going. Don't focus on one thought. Don't try to focus on one thought. Don't try to focus on one thing, because the more you do that, the more you're setting yourself apart from the pack. But that means that you have to perform. That means you're going to be the director. That means you're going to be the producer. That means you're going to be the person who needs to be there on time every day. And it's not a battle that you have to prove anything to anyone, but it's something that you need to do, something that you want to do, something that you really need to do. And that's why I had to seriously think about what I really wanted to do with my life. And I wanted to so badly get into cosplay and a whole bunch of different stuff, because a lot of women actually did inspire me, and that's the reason why I wanted to get into it. It's not for their respect or anything like that. It's because I saw them expressing themselves. I saw women expressing themselves, and it was extremely inspiring. And I saw people and dudes and guys and a bunch of different really, really amazing men being able to tell people and show people exactly what they can do with themselves, and design and do a bunch of different amazing expressive art and amazing like designs that they come up with. And some people actually helped, but most of the time it wasn't something that they actually got that much help with. It was mostly just like a basic shape or anything like that. So kudos, man. It was really wonderful, and it was really cool to see that happen, you know, to see that and realize that more people actually feel that way, you know, more people actually feel that way to be on the spot, to be able to take care of that situation. And that, because kids need to be inspired, adults need to be inspired, people need to understand that it's not about getting a whole bunch of money. It's not about making the shit tons of money. It's about making a lot of money. It really is. It's for the companies and for a lot of different people, for making a lot of money and making sure that money gets to the places where it needs to be, in charities and a lot of different places. But most of the time it has to do with just people not realizing that sometimes right around the corner is your success, or right around the corner is your failure, or right around the corner is a dude trying to rob you, or right around the corner is a dude with a Publishers Clearinghouse saying you want $25,000 a month for life. Can't wait. And if I do get all that and have fun with that, if I do get a lot of that stuff and realize that there are a lot of different economies that actually do have people in mind and really, really want them to succeed, if they want to succeed themselves, then realizing that is just, this is America, dude. It's like, this is America. No matter what people are around, no matter what people are trying to tell you what to do, you don't have to fucking listen to them. You don't have to. You can do your own thing. And they may say, like, are you a terrorist? But they're going to be like, are you a terrorist? And not like, you're a terrorist. That's what terrible fucking people do. And if you've never done anything, or if you've kept to yourself, or if you've helped people and been in society, people don't really bother you, man. People don't really bother anyone, you know? They don't really do anything that much. They're just trying to help themselves to a piece of what they think is the pie they want. You know, the different flavor, the different thing, the different kind of like stuff they're doing, you know? They're trying to make it, and they got a goal in mind, and I know they do, and no matter what, you have to realize that's like valid, that's respect, and that's the realization that no matter what they're doing, no matter how many times they think their character is going to be a certain thing, or their life is going to go in a certain direction, they have to realize is that they have control over it. They have control over what people see, what people do, and how people are able to go through a complete era and realize that they really, really did it. They really made it. And a lot lot of people think it's going to be that way forever, or think that their whole life is put into this one thing. And even after 3,000 years or 300 years, there was a Chinese construction company that was literally making all the deals and telling everybody that they were going to build a bunch of things and bring a bunch of tourism and bring a whole bunch of stuff, and that fell through. That fell through because the government didn't want it, because the government didn't actually see it to be feasible, because they thought that everyone would throw trash on their stuff or throw trash on anything. The only reason why New Orleans has any sort of trash thrown on the ground is because it creates jobs. Only reason why it is that way is because people don't realize that builds infrastructure, and it builds economies, and it helps people from keeping themselves off the street. It keeps those dudes who turn into triads and fucking crazy ass motherfuckers with guns and knives, and they don't have to throw them unbelievably seriously at your fucking face, into dudes who cook food and have a great time all the time. Turns those dudes into those dudes, and that's where the people are like, why can't we turn these douchebag kids into really good men? Because you don't know what they go through. Okay, you don't realize that they're not experiencing love. Okay, they're not experiencing anything. They're fighting something. They're fighting their parents. They're fighting something. They want to fight something to be able to push through something, to be able to push through what they believe is their infantilism, to be mature, to be able to be mature, but they don't understand that their brain isn't there yet. Their mind isn't in that situation. Their mind isn't looking for the possibilities. It's just getting to that situation. And then every single ounce of their strength is spent just getting there, and when they get there, they can't think of anything. And that sucks. And it really, really sucks for people. But that's the reason why people give up, I guess, is because they go through something in their life and they realize or think there's no other option, and they wind up screwing everything up, and it's just sad to watch. But there's always some sort of light at the end of the tunnel, It may be a train, it may be the sun, it may be something else, and it may be just your imagination and you're dreaming, or your eyes are just kind of closed and you're just passed out in a bar. 21 and over for prank war in the game. Have a good day. You are your own one-person bomb squad. You can defuse situations that you think are happening. But just remember, if you don't realize that, or if you don't think those situations are happening, then try to get some help and try to get a therapist. Really do. Or if you can't afford therapy, then try to make your own therapy. I realized that I had to do both because I really needed the help, because I was losing myself, and I was losing every single memory that I could ever possibly think about. And I didn't really think that, but I thought that I was for 20 seconds. And that's enough to be able to lose almost every single part of your memory. And if you're not willing enough to go back through it and realize the things that you missed, the things you made mistakes on, and the things you did stuff with, you have to understand that you'll make those mistakes again. And if you make those mistakes again and you just laugh about them, people will not like you for a very long time. If you make those mistakes and you just absolutely think that those mistakes are just nobody's problem, someone has to clean up your shit off the floor if you shit on someone's floor. Someone has to pick up the dude who you punched in the face because you thought that he was touching your girlfriend's ass. Someone has to do some job to be able to make sure that you feel better about yourself and you think you have friends. Just believe you don't. Just believe you never will. Just believe if you go somewhere else and you have to do those same things, you'll have those same problems. And if anyone believes that they can solve their problems through any sort of violence or any sort of thing, or even protecting themselves, just walk away first and see if the dude follows you. And if the dude follows you and tries to punch you, then you defend yourself. Yeah. Because if he doesn't follow you, then it's really not that big of a deal. Understand that those things are the reason why people start to lose themselves. the pushes, the pulls, the everything. They believe that they're being grabbed by something or pushed or pulled by something, and they don't understand that they're not in a war path, or they're not in a situation. They're just in their own mind and constantly pushing themselves, or constantly pushing at themselves, or biting at or chipping at away at the invisible block that they think is their absolute friend, and that's the portal cube, but companion cube. Understanding that is realizing that that's what it is. That's what the metaphor about portal is. Everything you do is making someone mad. You know? Everything you do is making someone not want to be your friend. Everything you do is making someone unhappy, because if you don't realize that, you should have been doing this from the beginning, or you should have been helping people from the beginning, then you'll realize the people that got mad at you were the ones that didn't realize what you were actually trying to do, I guess. And there's no way you can tell those people that. There's no way you can tell those people that they actually deserve something, or they actually wanted something, or actually wanted you to be around them, you know? But they always know it's only one person sometimes. They always know that it's only one person that they believe in, that they all had a friend about, or they all talked about and thought it was funny, or something like that. Just realize that that's not only one person. That's just only one person you're paying attention to, because you see that in your own possibilities or in your own life, and you're like, wow, I could really relate to that person. Then you get connected to that emotion, and then emotion is you constantly experiencing that emotion over and over and over and over again, and then that emotion wells up and you feel some sort of love or some sort of affection or anything, and there's no such thing as lust. There's no such thing as lust. Everyone that has sex is usually attracted to each other, no matter if they're drunk, not drunk, or anything. They just have high standards sometimes, and they have to lower those standards because they're stupid and they're idiotic, because they don't believe that sometimes people are attractive if they're not absolutely gorgeous. But they need to understand that a lot of times there are women out there that do deserve love, and really, really deserve it, because they don't get it, and they think that every dude's gonna just hand them down to someone, or make them think that they're not better than themselves, or think that they're just gonna not help them through a whole bunch of things that actually need to happen. You know, like them actually making their life and realizing their goals in mind, and all those other different things, but making their families too, and having support, because a lot of women have faced some serious trials and stuff like that, only because they thought that by having sex with this one dude, all their problems would be fixed. They got pregnant, they left the dude, or the dude left them, and they had a problem. And a lot of times the men they're just on their own way. They're just constantly trying to get with girls. They're kind of trying to make a bloodline or some sort of shit, or people that are friends or something. I don't know what they're doing, but they're just making fools of themselves most of the time. And if they don't really believe in themselves, if they don't really believe what they're doing is wrong, then they really need to check themselves, and they need to understand how desperate sometimes those women can be, and the responsibility for themselves to be able to be the right kind of person. And if they are torturing you, or they are trying to tell you what to do all the time, or trying to say that you're not the person you say you are, and I don't have faith in you, then fucking leave them. Not fuck and leave them, but fucking leave them. Just walk off. Walk the fuck off. Walk all the fuck that they said they were going to do, that the stuff they promised and said they were going to do, just walk off. Just walk off. Just do that. And walk away. And if they follow you, then it was meant to be most of the times. If they follow you all the way there, then if they follow you, not if they're inside of you because you decided to go down on them that one time. If they follow you, all right? If they always follow you, if they always want to be by your side, if they always want to care for you and be supportive of you, okay? That's the only way that they actually want to be that. If they, not because you went down on them, but because they're next to you physically and emotionally, and not somewhere else in some other realm trying to play with some sort of phone game. I don't know what's going on, but understand believe it and realize that people actually do have your back. People do want to see you succeed. And if you don't, then try to find someone. Try to find someone to be able to reinforce what your goals are. And realize that you're going to have to be excited. You're going to have to get through that stuff. You're going to have to get through those things, those realizations, those emotions that all pretty much just show you what they are. Because you are those things. You are those emotions. You go through a bunch of different kinds of obstacles to try to figure out who you are, but not realizing that if you just walked sometimes, then you would have been like, hey, you know? A lot of dudes don't realize this, but in a lot of different times, they don't realize that when in like military kind of like strutting and stuff like that, if you're injured, you can walk. Now you can. If you're injured, like if you're fucked up in the foot or something like that, you can walk sometimes. You don't have to put your foot down really hard. You can just be like, everyone else is doing it, I'm going to do it. Not really doing it, but everyone else is doing it, so ha. But that's not the thing I want to actually share. It's more like, be yourself. And if it's not good enough for you, if it's not good enough for you, if something is not good enough for you, then try to walk off. And if you're too far away from home, then try to catch a cab or a taxi or something to be able to be the person you actually want to be, instead of doing stupid shit and acting like you're the fucking bomb or something. Because all you're going to do is like piss people off that are old, because that was like seriously something that was bad most of the time. And those sayings are like so terroristic sometimes in nature that a lot of people don't really get those. So just realize that. Realize that the more you look at certain situations, the more you'll see the message behind it, and the more you'll realize that sometimes trying to say things or saying killing it or whatever kind of bullshit, it just means you're killing yourself. You're just kind of making yourself into a person that doesn't want to be here. And if you don't want to be here, then most of the time you pretty much kind of make that for yourself, and I don't. Because there's just a lot of different usages for us. Let's say, the mints that Vincent Price used to eat on, or the energy drink can that Courtney Love threw up in. Or the remote control that could making stupid jokes to make yourself laugh isn't crazy. It isn't dumb. It isn't stupid. And most of the time, what you really need to start doing, and you really need to realize, is that people actually like you. Okay? Realize that. And understand that even if you're not listening, just calm down, straighten up, and call yourself whatever you need to be able to get through the day. Don't focus on that, but just focus on everything. Focus on everything, not all at once, but focus on everything task by task. And the more mature you get, the more you'll realize you're better at things you can possibly ever imagine. And the more you'll understand that, the more you'll realize that there's things you were doing to yourself or things you were saying to yourself that were making you stop yourself because you thought that it was too much, and you thought that you were too much for like this world or the next or anyone. You have hidden potential, and it is not Dragon Ball Z. You can't really fly. It's stupid to do that because it's more like an electromagnetic field that you're using to be able to push and pull different ions back and forth, and that would mean that you have to have an engine inside of your body, and then half of your body wouldn't work anymore, and that's the reason why that happened not really, but that's the reason why that people don't understand that that's scientifically plausible most of the time, is that most of the people that died of certain radiation poisonings,
That's the reason why they died from it, because they were trying to do stupid shit with it and moving it to certain parts of their body and not realizing that they were literally just hurting themselves. You know, like that dude who can make his hands really warm or something like that. That guy is totally making hearts in his body. The dude is making hearts in his arms and his hands. The heart on the sleeve sort of thing, those are hearts. That's a heart. That's another heart inside your palm. And it's just like every single time you put your hand down, it pulses and pulses and pulses and pulses and pulses. And it's just like, you're making speakers, bro. You're making speakers, and it's terrible. And don't do it. Just don't, because it's bad. Have a good day. Oh, forgot to press the button. There we go.